that is a brilliant looking helmet.
Yes. Pete, look how much Sasanian this one looks like.
Well, it's got those decorative.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, because it looks like the helmet is actually made in one piece. So
Yes.
these are purely decorative
Yeah,
to
of course.
recall a previous type of helmet.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of a historical decoration.
Yeah.
But look at the way they've done the brow band there. That's we are really showing off we're rich and important. It's a lovely design.
Yeah.
They haven't worried about a nasal or anything like that. I
Mm.
don't think the brow band's got a provision for it. But they've used those. And normally those bands would be front and back or and side to side, but they've actually turned them by 90 degrees so that they
Yes.
frame the shape of the helmet. So
Yes.
this is a different design philosophy.
Yes.
Um, but those bands are so decorative. Look, they're all pierced and raised and
Yes.
just such good work. You can see where they're riveted
Yes.
just before the helmet's shape changes. So it goes from more or less cylindrical to conical.
Yes.
But the transitions are so smooth. Oh, that's
Another
very
one,
nice.
Pete. Yes.
Yeah.
Another one.
So that may be what a rhino horn grip.
Yeah, it's a rhino. It's definitely a rhino. You have examples
Yeah,
of them
yeah,
from there. Yeah.
yeah. And you see the absolutely beautiful engraving on the blade.
Yeah.
See how well that works on cards and on fish carbs of this shape. That works so well.
Yeah.
And we've got a cord wrapped around the scabbard because that cord unwrapped would be wrapped around your waist or tied to your if you've got a cummerbund on or some kind of sash wrapped around you. I remember when we saw this quiver the last time. That's the inside face of the quiver, not the outside face. And I've got two reasons to believe that. One is otherwise it would be a left-handed quiver, and they're very rare. And the rings come out to the surface there, which you wouldn't have if your quiver, if that was the outside face, the face that faces away from the archer, you wouldn't have the rings coming out there because it would make problems. There is one quiver that was recently sold for tens of thousands of dollars from an old collection that's Turkish of the 15th, 16th century that has the rings the wrong way around, but it's almost certainly it had been remounted in its lifetime. Or at the end of its life when it was a gift. Notice also the arrows have quite elaborate cresting on them,
Yes.
which is typical.
Yes.
Oh, the other thing is see those little red
Mhm.
uh they're actually loops. This is part of the arrow spacing design. You see this very highly developed in 17th, 18th century Tibetan quivers, but they're not red velvet. They're rawhide or something like that. Um,
Mhm.
you're not carrying a huge number of arrows, but they're grouped so you can get them more easily. They don't bunch together. The metalwork is typical of this kind of or this style of quiver. But again, metalwork like that, you would expect to see it on the other side of the quiver. This quiver is a bit confusing. Maybe it's been rebuilt from original parts and they've replaced the velvet or something like that, and somehow it's got mixed up. Notice the really high quality metal roundels on the belt. They appear to have a four petal pattern where the petals are curving. This is very good repoussé work.
Very excellent. Okay, you can take a
Mm.
look at them a closer look at it.
Oh yeah, see this is beautifully raised metal.
Yeah.
Now those arrows in there are wood because you can well, all but maybe the top one are wood. You can see the grain in the arrow,
Yeah, it is. Mhm.
but that if that design, as I say, I would say this has been refurbished in the collection at some stage. Some bits look really old. I mean, the metalwork is old, um, but the I'm looking at those straps. They look really old too. They look like shagreen, tubular shagreen, uh, green dyed leather straps, which is a an old design.
It
But
is.
look at the way they've just worked that shape around the border of the quiver.
Yeah.
I wish I knew a metal worker that good. I could make much better quivers than I do now.
Yeah. Look at
But I'm
this
not sure
here.
I could design
Look
something
the
like that.
side of it, Pete. Take a look at it.
Yeah, so this is a wooden frame quiver, which is typical of Central Asia and North China and Mongolia. Um, that way, you don't have to use super stiff leather.
Yeah.
You make a wooden frame and you attach the leather to it. You cover the leather with velvet. You cover it, and then you do the edges with metal and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Um, to me, that's that type of quiver, that shape of quiver, probably any. I'm not saying this one in particular, but that shape of quiver is something you would see from the 17th, 18th, 19th centuries.
Yeah.
It was used for a long time. Different styles were used in the same area. This is not the only quiver you would see there, but absolutely lovely piece of work. Oh,
Okay, now a
oh,
more
yeah,
elaborate one. Look
yeah,
at
yeah.
this one.
Just showing you what we can do in silver, we can do in gold just as well.
Yes.
And again, that might be elephant ivory. I think. I think that's elephant ivory from the yellowing of it. We've got gold, we've got turquoise set in a black matrix. That might be some kind of bituminous matrix, like a Atari substance that is painted on hot, and then the um, turquoises are pressed into it. I'm saying that because I've seen stuff like that, but they're not all done that way. A lot of the time, the turquoise is inlaid into metal, so just because it's black doesn't mean it's that substance. Because they were very good at niello, which is taking a piece of silver and putting sulfur on it, and then that. Yeah, I would say that's niello. That black comes from niello, not from any other material. Look at the very fine grain work on the gold between the leaves.
Yeah.
I mean, that's done with a tiny little punch, and there'd be tens of thousands of little taps to get that all to come out
Yeah.
just like that.
Yeah.
It's such beautiful and intricate work. I mean, maybe it's just the apprentice doing that because all the design is done by the master, and then the apprentice fills in the background. It is still really well done.
I was just thinking that type of gilding made sure that people didn't live that long.
Oh well, if this no, I think this is not gilded in that sense. You're thinking of fire gilding, aren't you? Where they're using a mercury amalgam to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
that
this one,
that's
but in general, not this one.
yeah. That's. Oh, I've got a bridle from that area, and all the silver pieces have fire gilded leaves and whatever on them. And whoever did that didn't live very long, because
Yeah.
inhaling mercury vapor is particularly good at destroying your brain and the rest of your body. Uh,
I think maybe we talked about it. Maybe we can discuss it when I had this reconstruction made of that coronation sword, which is now in Vienna, the Reichsschwert,
mhm,
right? Coronation sword. And it is,
mhm,
people always thought it was made of steel, the pommel, but then we had all pictures. I was the first guy who got the picture from the other side. So it's Christus
mhm,
Venis, Vincis, and then it's about Christ. And then when back then it was a very good German jeweler who made the exact reproduction of this. So I mean, Smith, the blade, and also the handle. And then I said, "Oh yeah, do it everything historical," and he did it because he also works for many museums. But then he said, "Oh, one thing we cannot do historical." I said, "What? Fire gilding." I said, "Why not? Do fire gilding." And he said, "No, thank you very much." And I just said, "You need to do
mhm.
fire gilding." And he said, "You know what I do?" He said to me, "I do fire gilding under one condition." I said, "Yeah, you sit next to me and we fire gild." And I just, I remember
We
that
both
one.
go mad together. You know, the thing is, of course, nowadays we can do electroplating, and you can put a resist on it and only electroplate the raised areas or whatever you like, and that's a lot safer
Yeah,
than fire gilding. The other way is you can do it like Kofgari. You can very finely crosshatch all the metal and then hammer
yeah,
sheets of gold into it. Uh,
yes.
that uses a lot more gold. and I think fire gilding was cheap in the sense that you use less gold, and it was usually the hot work, that is the work when the fire is applied to the alum gas, that was done by the apprentice who doesn't seem to be able to do anything right,
What
so he's
if
not
you
going to be
wear a
used.
mask? It wouldn't still help, right?
No, well, they didn't have the kind of mask that would stop the fine. See, mercury, when it's heated like that, turns into a vapor. It's just a
Yes.
gas then,
Yes.
and that will get inhaled, or
No, no,
it'll
I mean
even.
today, if we use
Oh,
modern
today,
masks,
yeah, but it's so much work, and there's still a risk. Why would you do it if you could do it a better way?
no, you're right. Well,
It's yeah, it's there's lots of traditional ways of making salami, and most of them work perfectly, but there are a few that are a little bit dangerous.
no,
Like cheeses. Remember that Sardinian cheese with the live maggots in it? Not everybody's up to it.
no. Okay, so this was
But that's
this
a
one.
solid block of ivory too. You notice
Yeah,
that it's
yeah.
not grip scales.
No, not
That's why
groups.
there are no rivets. That's been the tang fits into a hollow, and they put a hot resin or something on it, and then stuck the ivory on.
Yes.
So here we are, one of these wavy bladed swords,
Yeah, made of crucible steel. Beautiful. I love these ones.
very long hilt too.
Yeah, yeah.
I
And
mean,
see, do you
taking into account,
remember? If we didn't, maybe we should talk about it. In Khavaran I have all those miniatures from Iranian museums, and
mhm,
sometimes you see that they're having a shamshir and holding it with two hands. This is
yeah,
one of them.
well, it makes perfect sense. The very famous sort of Mehmet II,
Yeah,
which has got a very long hilt,
yeah,
and it's a early killage blade, obviously, because it's from
yes,
the um 14 mid 1400s. But it clearly was meant that if you wanted to, you could use it two handed. And of course, if you're fighting with a sword and shield, you're not going to use it two handed. But if you don't have a shield and use it two handed, you're going to be trying to
yeah,
chop somebody's arm off or whatever is necessary to stop them from attacking you. Um,
yes.
but yeah, and the other thing is, if you look very carefully, you can see that's not a round hilt; it's a square hilt with a
Square.
slightly rounded. Because you still want to know where the edge of the blade is going.
Yeah,
The one below it, which is typical Bukhara and Samarkandi Central Asian,
yeah,
um, again that really beautiful hilt.
yeah,
It's kind of the Central Asian version of a shashka,
yeah, yeah.
but it's their own take on it. They've got a whole different style. Again, look at the shape of that. That may be hexagonal. That hilt,
Oh,
so
yeah, you're
even
right.
better.
Hexagonal. Yeah, it's hexagonal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so even better. No, this is beautifully made.
yeah,
And that belt, look at the metal fittings on the belt, the terminal fittings. So there would have been a hook or a
yeah,
S-shaped buckle.
yeah,
Uh, and it's beautifully pierced, and the design of the piercing kind of makes branches with flowers and leaves on them come out. I
yeah.
love that kind of stuff.
Oh, sorry. Look at this one bead.
Oh, yeah, look at the inlay on that.
Really
See,
beautiful.
it's rare that you would have so many jewels put on something that's already got such a strong design in the gold work,
Yeah,
but they managed to carry it off. I mean, clearly it's to again show off the wealth of the person and how highly they esteem the person they're giving this as a gift to. But on the other hand, the grip, the handle of the sword is so utilitarian. It's meant to be used.
yeah,
That looks like black buffalo horn, actually, that's
yeah,
been polished.
yeah.
Look at the work on that.
Beautiful. Look at this bead.
Yeah, so they've matched the shape and the locket. So the mouth of
Yeah.
the base of the scabbard have the same pattern of jewelry inlaid on it.
This
Really
could be
well
also
done.
Persian, right? We have many Persian examples from Iranian museums we talked about, remember?
Yeah, it looks very Persian actually.
Yeah,
The curve, but then again, I mean, the Persian style was copied into
Yeah,
Afghanistan
yeah,
and
of
down into
course.
northern
Of
India as
course, of
well.
course.
Um, so the top one is the curved version of a fish carves, which
Yeah.
has a false edge effectively, um, and an armor piercing point. And again, that's an ivory, like an elephant ivory handle. But the knife below it is much more like an armor piercer, zero book type uh, knife. And notice how uh, it shrinks down towards the blade, so
Mm,
you can get that firm grip. Um,
yeah.
that's much. They're both fighting knives. They're not um, utility knives or anything like that. They're both for fighting, and they're both effective against people wearing armor.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
here we
Let
have
me
some
see.
very
Oh,
nice
here we
armor.
go now to the Ottoman beat. Should we stop and do the Ottoman? Because the Ottoman is huge now.
Well, yeah, we can stop and do it separately. I think that's probably a good idea. That way we don't get it all mixed up.
Yes. So because the next you see that, I just wanted to show you. I mean, this goes like
Yeah,
hundreds of slides, the Ottoman ones.
yeah,
Right. Maybe we can do it the next time, the Ottoman, because then it concentrates.
yeah. Oh, definitely. I'd love to go through that with you.
Yes. So
See,
we are
the
going
thing is,
just
when
to
I
have Ottoman, then we are going to have also Indian, we are going to have Japanese, we are going to have Japanese. Oh God, I forgot one thing. We are going to also more to have from ancient world. We are going to have oh God, European, and many things still to come. And then also from Rus arms and armor as well. That's what we are going to have. So
look, there's so much good stuff.
yes,
And the thing is, when I talk to you about this, you point out things I didn't notice, and sometimes I notice things that you didn't
yes,
notice. So at the end of it, we know more about it than we did at the beginning,
yes,
which
absolutely.
is it's a learning experience for me,
Yes.
because there's so many objects in museums,
Yes.
and I mean, I get to see exhibitions when they come to Australia, and when I'm overseas, I go to museums because
Yes.
I think I'm a bit like you. Just they're just so interesting. Uh, and you've got to see the real things. No matter how good a photograph is, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
The real thing is what, and even when you take several photographs from different angles, as you've done with these, that adds so much more information than just a
Yeah.
single photograph.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
No matter how, I mean, the single photograph might be so beautiful you'd hang it on your wall as
Yeah.
a work of art.
Yeah.
But as a person that's interested in how things are put together and how they work, and to me, I need the extra detail. And the thing is, what I've found, because I remember before the Suleiman the Magnificent exhibition came to Sydney, I got hold of the New York catalogue, beautiful hardcover book.
Mm,
And I'm looking at swords and daggers and shields and things,
mm,
and there's such beautiful photographs. But the
mm.
problem was when you saw them, they were entirely different size than you imagined in your mind from the
Yeah.
photograph.
Yeah.
Like one dagger was that long and it looked about that long in the photograph because
Yes.
of its proportions. And the shields, you have no idea. They give you a diameter, but until you see the shield in person and realize it's, like, well, the big Kalkin shields are that big, you don't realize how substantial they are. I was
Yes.
reading a translation of a Kipchak Turkish manual, which had archery and horsemanship and swordsmanship and how to play polo and all kinds of useful things in it. Towards the end, there was a discussion of lances, and they said, well, the normal size for a lance is 11 arshin. Now, an arshin is from here to here.
Yes.
So 11 arshins is a really long lance.
Very long.
And in the earlier part of the book, they had all the fencing techniques with lances. And you always got the impression the lances were only about 3 meters long, whereas in fact they were 5 meters long. So
Yes.
that the skill needed to do the things they're talking about in the lance exercises is well and truly.
It's
When you've got superheroes like Rustam, now Rustam's going to pick you up and throw you across the field because he's a hero of incredible proportions. Normal human beings are nowhere near that, but there are some people that are very strong, have practice to keep flexible, and whereas they can't do, magical things with a weapon that a normal person can't use,
Yeah. Yes.
they can
And you
do
know,
a
we
lot of
talked
damage.
about it. For example, there are khanjars in Iran that large, and
Mm,
or card or pishkabs. I'm not talking about qame. Qame is a short sword, but really
mm.
large. And they're all called, listen, khanjar Rostami, card
Yeah,
Rostami, meant for Rostam. You see?
yeah. Well, yeah, and could you imagine if you're a smith and you're making something and you want to give a gift to somebody important so they'll know how good you are, making a larger one and calling it for Rustam.
Yeah.
This is not a bad advertising idea, is it?
No, no, not. Yeah, no.
I think there's all kinds of things like that. Um, as I say, those giant lances. I mean, they would have. They're as long as a sarissa, like a Macedonian pike or a European pike, a Swiss pike or something like that. As I said, the lances in the Kipchak book were 5 to 6 meters long. That's long. Now, you might say, did people really use those? There are photographs, I think, from around Jordan, from the late 19th or early 20th century of Bedouin horsemen with lances. They're sitting on a horse, and the lance is touching the ground, and it's more than twice the height of the horseman sitting on the horse.
I see.
So these were real things that
Yeah,
were really used.
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, the Arabs were famous for their lance work. The Persians loved a good bit of lancing. You see, all the miniatures have lances.
We discussed about it. I remember when we did these experiments with Petra. She's a very good writer, and then she was coming, and then with the lance, and I had the armor, I had very good armor,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
with the shield, she hit me. Look, I'm get used to get as a full contact for her to hit. She hit me. Each time she hit me, either I did half turn, although I was resisting, or sometimes full turn. Look at the
Yeah,
force speed. Look at the force. And then she was hitting me, not with, of course, not with a sharp lance. So it was not, but she
yeah.
made me turn. Look at the force. And I was in armor. Look,
I
4
mean,
kilo and armor. And, it made me have turn. Now
see that
imagine
that's
a
the thing.
sharp one. What would it do to you, Beat?
Well, I think the armor may have defended against the sharpness somewhat, but see, the inertia of the heavy armor protects you to some degree. But a horse traveling at 20, 25 kilometers an hour, that velocity is added to the velocity of the strike. It's the same with shooting a bow from a horse. You get tremendous advantage. The worst situation to be is two people approaching each other on horses because oh look, my hand magically disappeared. The the two lances have the combined extra velocity. I mean, it's shockingly dangerous. I mean, this is the reason why doing reconstructions of uh, fighting techniques are okay up to a certain point, and after that point, they're too dangerous. I've heard people talking about fighting with poleaxes and HEMA. If you use those weapons full swing, even though the people are wearing armor, you would kill them.
Yeah, of course.
So you for fighting for fencing with real weapons, you've got to be able to pull the blows of it because these things are designed to kill people.
Yeah, yeah, of
And
course.
it's the same with a mace. I can't see how you can fence with a mace because if you make one mistake, then the other guy's dead.
Yeah, yeah, of course. The
And
dangers.
you don't. Usually, you're fighting your friends, so you don't want anyone to be dead.
Yes. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, that's
Thank
it's
you very
amazing.
much, Meet, for being
Yeah,
here
that was a
today
great
with me.
pleasure.
We are going hopefully to continue soon with the Ottoman, and
Yeah,
Ottoman which will much longer. We need much more time for the Ottoman.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Meet. Bye.
All right, we'll see. Yeah.